Three real school horror stories that will keep you up at night. Schools are supposed to be safe places, places where you learn, grow, and make memories that last a lifetime. But sometimes the walls themselves hold secrets so dark, so disturbing, that they leave behind more than just lessons. Tonight, I'm sharing three stories that were sent to me by viewers. Stories that will make you think twice about staying late after school. This first story comes from Jake, a sophomore at Ohio University. He wrote to me about something he discovered while exploring the campus late one night. "I've always been fascinated by abandoned places," Jake told me. "So, when I heard about the ridges on our campus, this old mental hospital that Ohio University now owns, I knew I had to check it out." Jake explained that he and his roommate had snuck into the building around midnight in December of last year. The ridges used to be called the Athens Lunatic Asylum, and it operated from 1874 until 1993. "We were just wandering around with our flashlights," Jake continued, "when we found this staircase leading to the top floor of Ward N20. The whole area was supposed to be off limits, but you know how college kids are. When they reached the top floor, Jake's flashlight beam caught something on the concrete, something that made his blood run cold. There was this perfect outline of a human body burned into the floor, like someone had been lying there so long that their body had somehow stained the concrete permanently. What Jake didn't know at the time was that he had discovered the infamous stain of Margaret Schilling. In December 1978, Margaret was a 53-year-old patient at the asylum who simply vanished. The staff searched everywhere for her. Police conducted massive grid searches. For 42 days, Margaret Schilling had completely disappeared, until a maintenance worker followed a strange smell to that exact room where Jake was now standing. They found Margaret's body in that locked room, completely naked, with her clothes folded neatly beside her. The official cause of death was heart failure, but when they removed her remains, they discovered that her body had somehow etched itself permanently into the concrete floor. The weirdest part, Jake told me, was that while we were staring at the stain, I swear I saw a woman's face in the window, just standing there, looking out at us with these hollow, empty eyes. Jake's roommate didn't see anything, but he did hear something, a faint voice calling out, "Mama, Mama," over and over again. They ran, and Jake says he's never gone back to the ridges after dark. But sometimes, when he's walking across campus at night, he looks up at that window in Ward N20, and he swears he can still see Margaret Schilling standing there, still searching for her mother, still unable to leave. The second story comes from specialist Maria Rodriguez, who was stationed in New Orleans during Hurricane Katrina cleanup in 2005. "I was part of the National Guard unit assigned to temporary housing at Sophie B. Wright School," Maria wrote to me. "It was this old Gothic building from 1912, the first all-girls public school in New Orleans. The hurricane had evacuated all the students, so we thought we'd have the place to ourselves. They were wrong. Maria's first night there, she was walking down the main hallway around 11 p.m. when she heard something that made her freeze. Children laughing. But there weren't supposed to be any children in the building. I followed the sound," Maria continued, "and it led me to an empty classroom. When I looked inside, I saw this little girl, maybe 8 or 9 years old, wearing an old-fashioned school dress. She was sitting at one of the desks, just giggling. When Maria called out to her, the girl looked up and vanished. But that was just the beginning. Over the next few weeks, Maria and her fellow guardsmen experienced things that defied explanation. Sergeant Hairston saw the same little girl standing in doorways. Specialist Leonore encountered a child shadow in the women's restroom. And then there was the incident with the storage closet. One of the guardsmen was retrieving cleaning supplies when he opened the closet door and found himself face to face with the giggling little girl who seemed to be playing hide and seek. The child's laughter echoed through the empty hallway long after she had disappeared. We started hearing children's voices coming from empty classrooms, Maria explained. Little footsteps running through the halls at night, doors slamming shut on their own. Some nights, it sounded like there was an entire school full of kids, but we were the only ones there. The activity became so frequent that the military chaplain was brought in to bless the building. In the name of Jesus Christ, I command you, Satan, to leave the dark areas of this building. The chaplain's voice rang through the empty halls. According to Maria, the paranormal activity stopped immediately after the blessing. But she never forgot those children's voices, and she never found out who they were or why they refused to leave. Sometimes I wonder, Maria concluded her letter, if those kids are still there, still playing in those empty classrooms, still waiting for someone to notice them. This final story comes from Yuki, an English teacher who was working at Yanagawa High School in Japan when something unprecedented happened in June 2014. I was in the faculty room grading papers, Yuki wrote, when I heard screaming coming from the first-year classroom. Not just one voice, but multiple girls screaming at the same time. Yuki rushed to the classroom and found one of her students collapsed on the floor, completely rigid, claiming she couldn't move her body. But as more students gathered to help, something impossible began happening. One by one, the girls who came to help started collapsing too. Within minutes, Yuki was watching healthy teenagers dropping to the floor, screaming and crying, all claiming they had lost control of their bodies. The most disturbing part, Yuki continued, wasn't just that they were paralyzed, it was what they were saying. The affected students began shouting phrases like, "Kill me and die," over and over again. Some were crying uncontrollably. Others just stared straight ahead with terrified expressions, as if they were seeing something horrible that no one else could see. I asked them what they were looking at, Yuki explained, and several of the girls pointed to the same empty corner of the classroom. They all said they saw the same thing, a headless figure in old clothes, standing there, pointing directly at them. Within 2 hours, 27 girls had been affected. The school immediately shut down and sent all students home. Now, Yuki knew the local folklore. Just weeks earlier, her students had taken a field trip to Mount Hiko, an area known for being haunted by the spirit of a headless girl. According to legend, this vengeful spirit roamed the mountainside, seeking revenge for her violent death centuries ago. The girls believed that during their school trip, one of them had somehow brought this spirit back with them, Yuki wrote. And on that morning in June, it decided to reveal itself to an entire classroom. Social media exploded with first-hand accounts from students inside the school. One post read, "Our school. Rumors going around that an evil spirit was brought back from the mountain. Now, over 15 people are dropping like flies. Medical experts later classified the incident as mass hysteria, a psychological phenomenon where groups experience identical symptoms triggered by collective fear. But Yuki and her students maintained their original story. All 27 girls eventually recovered completely, Yuki concluded. But not one of them has ever changed their testimony about what they saw that morning. They saw something that shouldn't exist, and it saw them back. Even now, years later, there's an unease in certain classrooms. Students refuse to sit in that corner where the figure was spotted. It's like something invisible is still there, still watching, still waiting. These aren't urban legends or creepypastas. These are real accounts from real people who experience things they can't explain. Each story reminds us that even the most familiar places can harbor secrets. And sometimes the line between the explainable and the supernatural becomes disturbingly thin. If you've experienced something unexplainable at your old school, send me your story. I read every single one. And remember, the next time you find yourself walking through empty school hallways after hours, you might not be as alone as you think. Sometimes the past refuses to stay buried, and the walls remember everything.